Imagine a world where power wasn't measured by gold or land. Instead, it was measured by discipline, cunning, and honor. Welcome to the universe of the samurai. In the quiet mist of dawn, a lone warrior sharpens his blade, not for wealth or recognition, but for mastery itself. Today, we peel back the veil of centuries and reveal how these men became legends. Their world was unforgiving, filled with intrigue, clan politics, and life-or-death duels. Yet, within this harsh landscape, the samurai thrived, not through money, but through an intricate understanding of strategy, social influence, and personal excellence. By the end of this journey, you'll see why their influence still echoes today, centuries later, across cultures and continents. Before the first clash of swords, the samurai trained in ways that would seem extreme by modern standards. Their routines included meditation, calligraphy, strategy games, and battlefield simulations. Every action had a purpose, to sharpen the mind as much as the body. In a society where wealth dictated status, the samurai carved influence through skill alone. Their reputation was currency, trustworthiness their coin. A well-placed word or timely decision could shift the balance of a conflict without lifting a blade. In this way, they transcended the material and became living embodiments of an ideal. The battlefield was not just a place of violence. It was a theater of strategy. Samurai studied terrain, weather, and human behavior. They predicted enemy movements, set traps, and turned every disadvantage into an opportunity. A samurai could influence entire campaigns with a single tactical maneuver, long before modern generals could even conceive of strategy boards. This precision, patience made mastery mindset made them powerful far beyond the battlefield. Power, they proved, didn't require treasure. It required foresight and unwavering discipline. Discipline was not just about training, it was a lifestyle. Samurai woke before dawn, their mornings punctuated by ritual and precision. Each meal, each step, even the way they folded their robes carried meaning. These seemingly small actions were exercises in control and awareness, shaping their minds for the unpredictability of life and combat. Wealth could buy comfort, but it could not buy clarity or decisiveness. In a society where allegiances shifted like the wind, the samurai's steadiness became their most valuable asset. They learned to act calmly in chaos, to read the subtle intentions of allies and enemies alike, and to turn every moment into an opportunity. Observing a samurai prepare for a day may seem mundane at first, but it is here, in these quiet routines, that the foundation of their legendary influence is laid. Beyond personal discipline, social influence was a silent weapon. Samurai families forged alliances, negotiated disputes, and cultivated respect through deeds rather than wealth. A single samurai, respected for wisdom and courage, could sway entire clans, redirect trade routes, or prevent wars. They mastered the art of persuasion, knowing when to speak, when to act, and when to wait. Their power existed not in gold coins, but in trust, reputation, and a network of carefully nurtured relationships. Understanding this, it becomes clear why so many rulers, even emperors, consulted samurai not just for their skill on the battlefield, but for their judgment in life and death matters. The samurai's influence was subtle, often invisible, yet undeniable, woven into the fabric of society itself. Weapon mastery was only part of their power. A samurai's true advantage came from understanding human nature. In duels, in court, even in casual encounters, they read intentions, predicted moves, and responded before others even realized a threat existed. This awareness turned ordinary confrontations into demonstrations of skill and authority. Samurai did not need armies behind them. Their presence alone commanded respect. Their influence extended beyond the battlefield into governance, education, and trade. Power, they taught, was invisible. It was in perception, in timing, and in the courage to act decisively when opportunity struck. Observing this subtle mastery, one begins to understand why the samurai were not just warriors, but architects of societal order. Not all battles were fought with swords. Words were as sharp as any blade. Samurai understood the power of rhetoric and silence alike. A carefully chosen phrase could diffuse a potential fight, build alliances, or shift loyalties. Their communication was precise, deliberate, and strategic. In councils and courtrooms, they observed reactions, gauged intent, and acted in perfect alignment with their objectives. This subtle mastery of influence meant they could lead without commanding armies, negotiate without threats, and win conflicts without bloodshed. Their reputation alone opened doors and earned respect, proving that true strength often lies in the mind rather than the body. Every samurai carried a story. Their armor, their katana, even their scars told tales of past victories and learned lessons. Yet, humility was their shield. They wore experience lightly, never flaunting their achievements, letting actions speak louder than words. In battle, this balance of confidence and restraint was key. Overconfidence could be fatal, but measured restraint turned opponents' aggression against them. Samurai understood that real power was silent. It didn't need fanfare. Observing them, one realizes that true influence comes not from intimidation, but from control over oneself and the environment. Training extended beyond combat. Samurai practiced tea ceremonies, poetry, and calligraphy, cultivating a refined mind to complement a lethal body. These disciplines taught patience, focus, and subtlety, qualities that proved invaluable in negotiation and leadership. A samurai who mastered both art and war gained unmatched respect. They became more than warriors. They were cultural custodians and strategic thinkers. In moments of tension, they could calm tempers or inspire loyalty, demonstrating that mastery of life itself was as critical as mastery of the sword. Through these practices, they built a personal authority that money could never buy. Loyalty and honor were currencies as valuable as gold. Samurai lived by Bushido, a code that demanded integrity, courage, and respect. Breaking these principles meant losing trust, reputation, and influence, often more damaging than defeat in battle. Their ethical framework created a society where promises mattered, contracts held weight, and respect was earned through consistent action. Samurai understood that power without honor was hollow. By aligning personal values with societal expectations, they cultivated authority that endured across generations. In essence, their morality became a tool, shaping the world around them more profoundly than any sword could. Samurai often faced situations where patience was more powerful than immediate action. Waiting, observing, and letting events unfold gave them a strategic edge. On the battlefield, rushing could be fatal, while measured patience turned chaos into opportunity. This mindset extended beyond combat. In diplomacy, trade negotiations, or internal clan disputes, the samurai's ability to wait and act at the right moment often decided the outcome. They treated time itself as a weapon, understanding that the right moment could amplify influence and minimize risk. In a world obsessed with instant results, their approach seemed deliberate, even mystical, but it was grounded in keen observation and discipline. The samurai's relationship with their weapon was almost spiritual. Every katana was treated with reverence, polished meticulously, and understood as an extension of the self. Handling it required precision, respect, and mindfulness. The sword was not just a tool for combat. It represented discipline, honor, and the weight of responsibility. In their hands, the line between man and weapon blurred, creating a symbiotic partnership where each movement reflected training, focus, and intention. Observing a samurai wield a katana was like watching a master artist at work. Every strike, parry, and stance carried meaning beyond the physical, embodying centuries of philosophy and strategy. Honor was inseparable from identity. Samurai carried their name, clan, and code into every encounter. A single lapse could tarnish generations of reputation. This relentless responsibility shaped decisions, relationships, and even daily routines. They learned to anticipate consequences, weighing each action with care. In this sense, samurai power was cumulative. It built over years of disciplined living, careful choices, and earned respect. It was invisible, yet palpable, commanding acknowledgement without coercion. Even outside the battlefield, their presence signaled authority, shaping events silently but decisively. Even solitude was a training ground. Samurai often retreated to mountains or gardens to meditate, practice, or reflect. In silence, they confronted fear, doubt, and ambition. This inner work was essential, building resilience and clarity of thought. Solitude sharpened judgment and honed intuition, allowing them to act decisively in complex situations. While others relied on advisors or wealth, samurai trusted their disciplined mind, proving that mastery of self could achieve what armies or money could not. Their strength, born in silence, echoed loudly in action. Their legacy was not in monuments or treasure, but in stories, respect, and the systems they shaped. Generations later, their strategies, ethics, and discipline remained studied and admired. Samurai influence extended beyond Japan, inspiring leaders, thinkers, and warriors worldwide. The power they cultivated was sustainable, not flashy, a quiet authority that commanded attention without demand. Observing history through their lens teaches a vital lesson. True strength is measured by influence, foresight, and character, not by riches or numbers. Samurai mastery shows that deliberate action, patience, and honor create enduring impact. Samurai understood that power was often symbolic. A simple gesture, a bow, the way they carried their sword, the posture they maintained, conveyed authority without a word. These subtleties were carefully observed by allies and adversaries alike. In a culture steeped in ritual, the smallest action could inspire loyalty, deter aggression, or shift perceptions. Samurai trained to be aware of every movement, every glance, and every pause. Their presence alone communicated confidence, patience, and control. In many cases, battles were won before they began, simply by the impression the samurai projected. It was mastery over perception, a skill as vital as combat. Leadership among samurai was earned, not inherited. Command required respect, not fear. Those who led successfully balanced assertiveness with empathy, understanding both allies and opponents. They could inspire men to follow them into impossible situations because their authority was genuine. Honor and competence combined to create influence far beyond what any title could grant. Samurai leadership was holistic, considering the welfare of their clan, the morale of their soldiers, and the long-term impact of decisions. Every choice reflected strategy, discipline, and ethical grounding. It was a reminder that power built on respect endures far longer than power gained through intimidation. The samurai's influence extended into education. Young warriors were mentored not only in combat, but in philosophy, ethics, and strategy. Lessons included history, literature, and understanding human behavior. Samurai recognized that knowledge multiplied power. A well-educated warrior could negotiate, inspire, and manipulate without drawing a sword. Wisdom became an extension of authority. Their schools were centers of learning and discipline, producing individuals capable of influencing society. Samurai invested time in cultivation, proving that lasting power was nurtured through teaching, reflection, and continuous learning. Samurai rituals were more than tradition. They were tools for focus and unity. Ceremonies such as tea preparation, armor inspection, or martial demonstrations aligned mind and body. These practices reinforced discipline, heightened awareness, and built a shared sense of purpose. Observing as samurai engage in ritual is witnessing centuries of refinement in motion. Every gesture carries meaning, teaching patience, precision, and respect. Rituals became anchors for behavior, ensuring consistency in thought and action. They reminded the samurai that every moment was part of the broader strategy of life, and that mastery required deliberate attention to both small and large details. Nature was both teacher and ally. Samurai studied seasons, rivers, mountains, and weather patterns, using the environment strategically. Understanding terrain gave them advantages in battle, but it also informed daily routines, travel, and meditation. They saw the world as interconnected, where patience and observation revealed opportunities. A samurai who respected and learned from nature could anticipate challenges, protect allies, and harness resources wisely. In this relationship with the natural world, they found lessons in balance, resilience, and timing. Power was amplified through awareness, an insight that few other warriors cultivated. The samurai's strength was often invisible to outsiders. While others relied on numbers, gold, or weapons, the samurai cultivated influence through reputation, skill, and presence. They understood that the perception of power could be as effective as power itself. A disciplined warrior could command respect in a crowded hall or silence a battlefield with a single movement. Observation, patience, and subtle cues were their tools. Over time, this invisible strength became legendary, shaping outcomes and altering decisions before a fight even began. Their mastery of perception was as important as mastery of combat, creating an aura of authority that few could challenge. Samurai discipline extended to every object they touched. Their weapons, armor, and tools were maintained meticulously. Each fold of a robe, polish of a blade, and arrangement of belongings reflected focus and care. This attention to detail was not vanity, it was preparation. A minor oversight could be fatal, while precision ensured readiness in any circumstance. The samurai's environment mirrored their mind, organized, intentional, and calm. By mastering small details, they mastered larger challenges. This philosophy reinforced patience, observation, and responsibility, creating a mindset where control over self and surroundings translated into authority and respect. Loyalty was earned, not assumed. Samurai cultivated trust through consistency, courage, and fairness. Allies relied on them not because they demanded it, but because their actions demonstrated reliability. A samurai's word was binding. Promises mattered more than contracts. This system created networks of influence, enabling them to shape outcomes without force. Leaders, merchants, and soldiers alike respected their integrity. In a world rife with betrayal, the samurai's adherence to ethical standards became a form of power itself. Their authority was silent, earned, and unbreakable by those who understood its depth. Preparation was everything. Samurai never left decisions to chance. Each day included exercises in strategy, observation, and reflection. They practiced scenarios, anticipated challenges, and adapted to changing conditions. This constant readiness allowed them to act decisively when moments demanded it. Unlike armies relying on numbers, the samurai's careful preparation created exponential advantages. Knowledge, experience, and foresight multiplied their impact. Even a single warrior, fully prepared, could influence events on a scale larger than many. Their discipline transformed unpredictability into opportunity, teaching that power is built in the quiet hours, long before it is demonstrated. Samurai influence transcended combat. They guided political decisions, advised rulers, and shaped society through counsel and example. Their authority relied on expertise, observation, and ethical grounding rather than coercion. Even distant villages respected their judgment, and rival clans often sought their mediation. Through subtle action and presence, samurai created stability and order. Their ability to sway outcomes without force highlighted a core truth. True power is versatile. It manifests in battle, governance, diplomacy, and culture. Samurai mastery demonstrated that enduring influence depends on skill, wisdom, and integrity rather than mere strength or wealth. Samurai understood that timing was as critical as skill. They observed, waited, and acted when the moment aligned with opportunity. Patience allowed them to see patterns unnoticed by others. On the battlefield, a single well-timed maneuver could turn the tide. In diplomacy, a pause before speaking could reveal hidden intentions. Samurai trained themselves to trust instincts refined by observation and experience. Their power emerged from this harmony of timing, strategy, and execution. Each action was deliberate, calculated, and purposeful, reflecting a lifetime of disciplined preparation. Mastery, they knew, was as much about when to act as how to act. Ceremony and combat were intertwined. Samurai ceremonies trained precision, awareness, and composure, which transferred directly into battle. The calm required for tea preparation mirrored the focus needed for a duel. Armor inspections honed attention to detail, ensuring nothing compromised readiness. Even poetry and calligraphy sharpened mental clarity, patience, and observation. These seemingly unrelated arts were essential components of a samurai's toolkit. Their power emerged from integrating all aspects of life, mind, body, and environment, into a single disciplined whole. By blending art and martial skill, samurai became more than warriors. They became symbols of balanced mastery. Every action was a lesson in humility. Samurai knew that skill alone could not sustain influence. Pride led to mistakes, and arrogance invited downfall. They approached each task, whether sweeping the courtyard or leading a clan, with full attention and respect. This mindset reinforced their authority and trustworthiness. Humility made them approachable yet respected. It allowed them to see others clearly and act wisely. Their presence carried calm confidence, a subtle strength that inspired loyalty. By valuing humility as much as skill, samurai ensured that their power endured, grounded in ethics and discipline, rather than fear or force. Samurai power thrived on foresight. They analyzed past battles, social dynamics, and potential conflicts to anticipate challenges. This preparation made them formidable even without numbers. Strategy and foresight allowed a single samurai to shape events that would affect entire regions. Their ability to see beyond the immediate moment, to plan several steps ahead, gave them a persistent edge. It was this foresight, combined with discipline, observation, and ethical grounding, that distinguished samurai from ordinary warriors. Influence, they proved, was a product of vision, not just force. Finally, the essence of samurai power was timeless. It combined discipline, foresight, ethics, skill, and subtle influence into a life of mastery. They were warriors, leaders, educators, and guardians of culture. Their legacy is not in wealth or monuments, but in the principles that continue to inspire generations. By observing their methods, we see that true power is patient, deliberate, and ethical. It grows quietly, like roots beneath the surface, and manifests decisively when the moment demands it. Samurai mastery teaches that enduring influence is not about intimidation, but about alignment of mind, body, and values, a lesson that resonates far beyond the battlefield.